What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I've got another Palantir update. This time, they got a new contract from a company out in Japan. Now, this is a pretty important contract because it is from a company and not a government. Recently, we've seen Palantir pretty much exclusively get really large government contracts, and this time, it is from a private company. Now, before we go into all of that, if you guys enjoyed this video, please go down and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. It really helps getting all of this information out to everybody, and you can stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks and maybe even learn about a couple of new ones. Now, even though Palantir got a pretty sizable contract from this company out in Japan, they still fell 0.76% today and are down about 4 cents after hours. Palantir has recently been on a pretty large free fall from around the $29 mark all the way down to $23.37, which is where it closed today. Now, I think that Palantir has reached its bottom, and I'm going to be getting into a pretty interesting options play tomorrow. If you want to see me go over that in detail, I'm going to be covering it in the end of this video, so make sure you stick around. Now, Palantir has a pretty interesting date looming in its near future, and that is going to be the share lockup expiring. So all of the insiders, the C-suite, the original investors are going to have the opportunity and the ability to sell their shares on the open market. Now, I think that this is not going to be a big deal at all, and here's why. The peak of Palantir is about $33.50. That was the intraday high. So why would any smart investor want to sell so many of their shares at such a discount from highs? Now, granted, it did start at $9, so they are up a lot. But if you're an insider at this company and you know exactly what the everyday activities are and what exactly the softwares are being used for and how effective they are, and they're actually as good as everybody thinks, why would you sell your shares? I just don't think it's a very logical thing to do. Now, we can see that since Palantir fell 0.76% today, when they got a pretty big contract, that's pretty interesting. But the overall market today had a very bad day. The S&P 500 was down 1.36%, and I just think that Palantir came down with the market, which is not really anything against Palantir. It just kind of followed the overall trend of the market today. So let's go take a look at what exactly this new contract is. So it's going to be a $22.5 million contract with Japan. So now it's going to be a 1-year contract in partnership with Sampo Holdings for the real data platform for security, health, and well-being. And essentially what it's going to help to do is streamline supply chains across industries and increase security and resilience in the region. They're basically going to be helping out with senior living facilities, which is a very profitable business. If Palantir can help these companies become more efficient, all of these companies are going to be making more money because their margins are going to be higher. We've seen this a lot with Palantir throughout 2020. They've been doing a lot with healthcare, which has been a very important field. Now in 2021, I think that this type of data analytics and predictive analytics software is going to continue to be very important in the healthcare field. And if we keep seeing Palantir get these new contracts, their market cap and their overall valuation is definitely going to go up. In the near future, Palantir has 2 events that I think are going to be able to push the stock price higher, and the Palantir is going to be able to have a run up in share price into these events. And if the news is good that comes out of these events, it's going to have a continuation to the upside after. So the first one that I'm going to be talking about is the one that takes place second. So this is going to be Palantir's inaugural live demo day. Now this is going to be the big event. It is basically going to be, they're going to provide product demos and will include its Foundry, Gotham, and Apollo platforms. Now, if we look down here, the product leads will show the latest releases of each platform and describe the upcoming research and development roadmap for 2021. This next sentence is the most important part, in my opinion, is gonna have the most effect on the share price. So Palantir will cover examples of its commercial and government work. The government work is going to be the most important. So Palantir has been a part of Operation Warp Speed. It's been a part of the operational rollout of the vaccine in the UK. It's been a part of helping out manage the healthcare facilities and making sure they're not overrun and making sure that the healthcare facilities get enough equipment in the right amount of time so they don't run out. So we're going to be able to see how their software works in action and how great it's been in helping out with the pandemic. We haven't really seen any of this in action as of yet. We just know what the software is being used for, but we don't know the specifics. And once we find out the specifics, it's going to provide more insight into Palantir as a company. The second big event is going to be in 3 days. It's going to take place on January 7th, and it's going to be during market hours. So we can see right here the path forward with Palantir CEO Alexander Karp. So basically what they're going to be talking about is the challenges faced by governments around the world in relying on technology and software to respond to the pandemic. I think what's going to happen is that Alexander Karp is just going to go on the air and pump Palantir. He's going to talk about how effective their softwares have been in helping to stifle the virus and helping out the different agencies and governments handle the operational aspects of dealing with a pandemic of this size. If we can come out of this little announcement here with some good insight onto how Palantir has helped out with the pandemic, I think it's going to cause a pretty interesting spike in the share price if the news is good enough. So let's take a look at the options play that I'm going to be getting into tomorrow for Palantir. So this is going to be for the February 19th expiration date. And the reason that I'm picking this date is because it covers the Alexander Karp speech, it covers demo day, and it also covers the earnings announcement on February 11th for Palantir. So when we go down and look at the option chain, we can see that these options are kind of expensive for the share price that Palantir is trading at, but the implied volatility is pretty high. So these are going to be some pretty risky options. I'm not going to put in an amount that I'm not fully comfortable losing. And if these contracts go up 100%, then I am probably going to take profits and let the other ones ride and play with house money. The specific contract that has kind of piqued my interest is this $30 strike. So it's currently trading at $1.39. It was down 15% today when the stock price was down 1%. So we can go over here. We can see that the implied volatility is about 103%, which means it's going to be a pretty risky contract, but the open interest is about 30,000. That means that there's about 30,000 of these contracts being held in people's brokerage accounts at the current time. Now, that's pretty interesting. It's a pretty good indication of where option traders think the price is going to go. But when we come over here to the volume, this is what really stands out to me. 6,000 of these contracts were traded today. Now, I don't think that these contracts were being closed, that people were selling off of them because they don't think that Palantir is going to have any bullishness in the near future. I think that these contracts were new ones bought today. So I'm going to be hopping on this trade tomorrow and getting the $30 strike for February 19th. I'm probably going to buy a decent amount of contracts just so I can make some free and ride it through all of these events that are coming up in Palantir's near future. So I really think that Palantir has reached its bottom. I don't think that it has much farther to go. But another thing that you can do if you think that Palantir might go down a little bit farther, or if you think that it's going to go up, and even in addition, if you think that you want to own Palantir at, say, $20, $19, you can sell puts in these ranges and collect premium while putting up the capital to buy 100 shares of Palantir at any of these prices. So that's another strategy. It's going to be a little bit safer, but if you're comfortable owning Palantir at these price points, selling puts is always a good option. That's going to be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed what I had for you in this one, please go down and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.